And I'm in celebration mode, as you can see, and why not? Because I've just finished putting the finishing touches on episode 500, which publishes tomorrow, and I'm pretty excited about that. So thought I'd just pop onto the onto Facebook, drop into a bit of a live stream, and let you know what I've got in store for you tomorrow for the 500th episode. So first of all, of course, we did have a recent survey of ALF listeners, and I asked you to nominate the episode of the podcast that you enjoyed the most, that you found the most useful, that you'd vote as the number one episode. And it was amazing how many entries, how many submissions I got to that survey. It was in the thousands. And the other amazing thing was how many podcast episodes got nominated. There were hundreds of podcast episodes. Out of 500, there were more than 300 episodes that got nominated by one or more people. So that's fantastic because it means that I've managed to hit a broad cross-section of audience. I really love that you've given me that feedback by way of a survey. But of course, there can only be one winner, and I know who has produced the most popular podcast interview so far in the ALF lineup. I'm going to reveal that to you tomorrow. In fact, I'm going to go through the top 5 podcasts as voted by ALF listeners. I'm also going to talk about the top 5 podcasts as judged by the number of downloads they've had. So the ones that have been most popularly downloaded, unique downloads, that'll be interesting as well. Now, of course, attached to that survey where I asked people to nominate their favourite podcast episode, there was also a competition. So everybody who did that is entered into the draw to win a tackle shopping spree at Angler's Warehouse. And I'm going to announce the winner of that and some consolation prizes as well. That'll be announced in tomorrow's podcast episode. So make sure you catch that and find out whether you are one of the lucky winners of our prize draw for tomorrow. Now, another thing that I have decided to include in the 500th episode, because I thought it might be a little bit interesting, is a look at where I'm going with the podcast in terms of the format of the podcast moving forward. So there's going to be some changes. There's going to be some additional hosts coming into the show. So I'm going to be sharing the microphone. There's going to be some different types of content produced, and I'll talk about that tomorrow and reveal exactly what my plans are in that area. But I'll also spend some time talking through the 5 biggest lessons that I've learned since being host of the Australian Lure Fishing Podcast. Not so much about running a podcast. There's been lots of lessons there, lots of hard lessons too, I should say, at times. But I really want to talk about the 5 things that I've learned by talking to 350 plus of Australia's best anglers that have helped me to improve my fishing. So 5 big lessons that I've personally learned that have been a growth experience for me as a result of talking to some fabulous, amazing guests. Now, I've mentioned that we're going to announce the winner of the prize draw, but we also have some rolling giveaways over the next 2 to 3 months. There's going to be a series of giveaways, lots of opportunities to get involved, lots of opportunities to throw your hat in the ring and potentially win some great prizes. I'm going to talk about those in tomorrow's episode as well and tell you how you can get involved in those prize draws. And there's some fantastic stuff to give away there. So, folks, that's episode 500 in a nutshell. Obviously, the actual episode will take a little bit longer than that, but looking forward to hitting the publish button on that. It's all scheduled and ready to go. Around lunchtime tomorrow, you'll be able to access episode 500 from Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, all of those places where you'd normally listen to podcast episodes. You'll find ALF episode 500 there. All that great stuff to come, prizes, giveaways, announcements. It's going to be a big day. Hope that I get as many of you along as possible. I'm going to do another live stream tomorrow, another celebratory live stream, I should say, and look forward to winding down then for a little while. I'm actually going to take a few weeks break after the podcast, the 500th episode of the podcast goes live. I'm going to take a few weeks off the air, which is the first time really in 3.5 years, but rest assured that I'm not going to be sitting on my haunches. I'm actually setting up a whole bunch of things moving forward. So the changes in format and the inclusion of new hosts and all that kind of stuff. There's a fair bit of work involved in getting all that set up, some website upgrades that need to be done and that sort of thing before we hit the go button. But we're going to be back on the 18th of April with episode 501. Not going to tell you what that episode is yet, but I can assure you it's going to be a cracker, and I look forward to talking to you then. But of course, I look forward before then to publishing the 500th episode tomorrow. So be sure and join us. Give me some feedback if you like the episode. I would love to hear from you. And thank you so much once again to everybody who's shown their support over the last few years. I get messages on Facebook, on Instagram, via email. Just about every day I get messages from people saying that the podcast has helped them in one way or another. I'm so pleased to have been part of your fishing journey. So thank you so much for allowing me to be there and to provide you with some entertainment and hopefully some useful information as well. And I look forward to continuing to do it in the future. Have a great night, folks. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Bye for now.